Before the war, or any of the troubles that it brought, my grandpa, his brother Joe, and their family lived in Berkeley. He was 10 and Joe was 8 when Pearl Harbor was bombed and when President Franklin Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066 and had all citizens of Japanese ancestry relocated. They were ordered to report to the First Congregational Church with only a few duffel bags to be picked up by one of the Greyhound buses. They were given the family number 13956 and were driven to their first camp at Tanforan Racetrack. They were assigned barrack number 72-1, freshly built in a parking lot to live in. But they only lived there for a few months and were soon relocated to their permanent camp in Topaz, where they would stay for 3 years. The food in camp was mostly army provisions, such as powdered eggs and stale toast for breakfast, and canned Vienna sausage and sauerkraut for lunch and dinner. This was because the chefs were Caucasian and there was no mess hall built yet. But once they did build a mess hall, a few internees volunteered to be chefs and the food got a little better. They even started serving rice. There were 8,000 internees in Topaz. Grandpa and Joe's family shared Block 12 with 10 other families. The few Caucasians that lived among the internees, mostly religious and volunteers, were very sympathetic towards their situation and strived to improve it. This did not stop an old man from getting shot when he walked his dog too near the fence. Uncle Joe said supposedly the guard shouted a warning before he fired, but no one bought that explanation as the man was very old, hard of hearing, and posed no threat. The barracks that the internees lived in used to be horse stables. There were metal army cots to sleep on with straw mattresses, and the walls didn't go all the way up so you could hear what people in other rooms were saying. Up to 4 people could be forced to live in a 2-stall room. The bathrooms were separate and were some distance from the barracks. Overall, they were living like animals. When the camps were finally ended, the family moved to New York, since everything they owned was either stolen or confiscated. But when they got the chance, they moved back to Berkeley. As kids, Grandpa and Joe felt no resentment to the government for putting them through the camps. They felt that Japan was the one at fault. To commend their actions, President George W. Bush sent each living internee a $20,000 check and a letter of apology. But in some ways, no amount of money or apologies can heal the wound that the camps have created.